Flo and the Family 1804. In addition to long-term goals, it is imperative to have a constant supply of short-term objectives. These may include a simple tasks like buying a new sofa, on a picnic, planning for vacation, or playing a game of Scrabble together on Sunday afternoon. Unless there are goals that the whole family is willing to share, it is almost impossible for its members to be physically together, let alone involved in an enjoyable joint activity. Here again, differentiation and integration are important. The common goals should reflect the goals of individual members as much as possible. If Rick wants to go to a motocross race and Erica would like to go to the aquarium, it should be possible for everyone to watch the race one weekend and then visit the aquarium the next. The beauty of such arrangement is that Erica is likely to enjoy some of the aspects of bike racing, and Rick might actually get to appreciate looking at fish, even though neither would have discovered as much if left to his or her own prejudices. As with many other flow activities, family activities should also provide clear feedback. In this case, it is simply a matter of keeping open channels of communication. If a husband does not know what bothers his wife and vice versa, neither has the opportunity to reduce the inevitable tensions that will arise. In this context, it is worth stressing that entropy is a basic condition of group life, just as it is a personal experience. Unless the partners invest psychic energy in the relationship, conflicts are inevitable simply because each individual has goals that are to a certain extent divergent from those of all other members of the family. Without good lines of communication, the distortions will become amplified until the relationship falls apart. Feedback is also crucial to determine whether family goals are being achieved. My wife and I used to think that taking our children to the zoo on a Sunday every few months was a splendid educational activity and one we could all enjoy. But when our oldest child turned 10, we stopped going because he had become seriously distressed with the idea of animals being confined in restricted spaces. It is a fact of life that sooner or later on children will express the opinion that common family activities are dumb. At this point, forcing them to do things together tends to counterproductive. So most parents just give up and abandon their teenagers to the peer culture. The more fruitful, if more difficult, strategy is to find a new set of activities that will continue to keep the family group involved. With time, one gets to know the other person well, and the obvious challenges have been exhausted. All the usual gambits have been tried. The other person's reactions have become predictable. Sexual play has lost its first excitement. At this point, the relationship is in danger of becoming a boring routine that might be kept alive by mutual convenience, but is unlikely to provide further enjoyment or spark a new growth in complexity. The only way to restore flow to the relationship is by finding new challenges in it. This might involve steps as simple as varying the routines of eating, sleeping, or shopping. They might involve making an effort to talk together about new topics of conversation, visiting new places, making new friends. More than anything else, they involve paying attention to the partner's own complexity, getting to know her at a deeper levels than were necessary in the earlier days of the relationship, supporting him with sympathy and compassion during the inevitable changes that the years bring. A complex relationship sooner or later faces the big question: whether the two partners are ready to make a lifelong commitment. At this point, a whole new set of challenges presents itself. Raising a family together, getting involved in a broader community affairs when the children have grown up, working alongside one another. Of course, these things cannot happen with extensive inputs of energy and time, but the payoff in terms of the quality of experience is usually more than worth it. But there are some steps that the families can take to partially alleviate this wasteland of opportunities. In older times, young men left home for a while as apprentices and traveled to distant towns to be exposed to new challenges. Today, something similar exists in America for late teens, the custom of leaving home for college. The problem remains with the period of puberty Burberry, roughly the 5 years between 12 and 17. What meaningful challenges can be found for young people that age? The situation is much easier when the parents themselves are involved in understandable and complex activities at home. If the parents enjoy playing music, cooking, reading, gardening, carpentry, or fixing engines in the garage, then it is more likely that the children will find similar activities challenging and invest enough attention in them to begin enjoying something that will help them grow. If parents just talked more about their ideals and dreams, even if these have been frustrating, the children might develop the ambition needed to break through the complacency of their present selves. If nothing else, discussing one's jobs or the thoughts and events of the day and treating children as young adults as friends help to socialize them into thoughtful adults. But if the father spends all his free time at home, vegetating in front of the TV set with a glass of alcohol in his hand, children will naturally assume that adults are boring with people who don't know how to have fun and will turn to the peer group for enjoyment. To play the trumpet well, a musician cannot let more than a few days pass without practicing. An athlete who does not run regularly will soon be out of shape and will no longer enjoy running. Any manager knows his company will start falling apart if his attention wanders. In each case, without concentration, a complex activity breaks down into chaos. Why should the family be different? Unconditional acceptance the complex family members ought to have for one another is meaningful only when it is accompanied by an stinting investment of attention. Otherwise, this is just an empty gesture, a hypocritical present indistinguishable from disinterest. Enjoying friends. It is in the context of intimate friendships, however, that the most intense experiences occur. These are the kinds of ties about which Aristotle wrote, for without friends who no one would choose to live, though he had all other goods. To enjoy such one-to-one relationships require the same condition that are present in other flow activities. It is necessary not only to have common goals and to provide reciprocal feedback, which even interactions in taverns or at cocktail parties provide, but also to find new challenges in each other's company. This may amount simply to learning more and more about a friend, discovering new faces of his or her unique individuality, and disclosing more of one's own individuality in the process. There are few things as enjoyable as freely sharing one's most secret feelings and thoughts with another person. Even though this sounds like a commonplace, it is in fact requires concentrated attention, openness, and sensitivity. In practice, this degree of investment of psychic energy in a friendship is unfortunately rare. Few are willing to commit the energy or the time for it. Just as with a family, people believe that friendships happen naturally, and if they fail, there's nothing to be done about it but feel sorry for oneself. In adolescence, when so many interests are shared with others and one has great stretches of free time to invest in a relationship, making friends might seem like a spontaneous process. But later in life, friendships rarely happen by chance. One must cultivate them as assiduously as one must cultivate a job or family. Okay, that's it.